Innovative.
Dynamic.
Gritty.
Determined.
Warrior.
This podcast is about the innovators,
the leaders on the front lines of adversity,
the all-around good people doing good deeds.
They are the civic warriors of the world.
Witham's guests are the leaders in the nonprofit industry affecting change.
They try, they fail, they overcome.
Through their stories, we can join forces to become civic warriors.
Hey Warriors, Witham's guest and civic warriors today is Serena Greco from People Are There, or PAT. PAT is a nonprofit organization dedicated to raising awareness of mental health issues and to combating the stigma associated with it. They aim not only to educate people young and old about the need to combat the mental health crisis, but also to be a force for change in our communities. We also highlight the challenges associated with starting a nonprofit and the importance of being a positive influence on those around you. Let's welcome Serena to the show. Thanks, Serena, for joining us. I mean, obviously, Matt kind of shared some of the things that you're doing, and we really appreciate having the opportunity to just chat with you and kind of share your message, kind of bring out some, raise awareness, I think, to some very important issues and things that are going on, especially right now. And we want to make this about sharing the message and really talking about, any issues or concepts you want to talk about to bring to light what you've been doing. So thanks for being a part of this.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited.
Yeah, so I guess why don't we just jump right in? I mean, why don't you talk a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Okay, so my name's Serena Greco. I'm 22 years old. I started a nonprofit called People Are There, and the reason for that name, so it's Pat and then People Are There, and it's in honor of my friend Pat, who unfortunately took his own life in June 2016. So it's a mental health awareness organization, and we're focused on a bunch of things, but I think the three main things that I like to say about this organization is, one, we focus on education itself and educating all ages and bringing in a better education system into schools about mental health itself. Two, working with other organizations and getting their names out there, because I don't think people either utilize them as much or even know that they're out there. So just having more resources out there for people of all ages to access. And three, overall, just prioritizing and shining light on mental health itself, especially with everything going on today. It plays a huge factor. It doesn't matter what your age is, who you are, everyone has mental health. So that's why I love this organization, because I get to work with everyone and anyone. So that's kind of what we're doing right now.
Yeah,
nice.
I think that's go ahead, Matt. Sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say, no, that's awesome. I know we were talking about that a few days ago and everything, when we were on the phone. I guess tell us a little bit about how it all got started, like how like the beginning days when you first started, because we're 22 years old, 23 years old, and normally when you think of a not-for-profit startup, you think of like really established people. And so how did that all start up?
So it's actually kind of crazy, because I never thought I was going to do anything like this in general. So obviously when Pat passed, I always knew I had to do something. And I never, as I said, never thought it was going to be anything like this. So it was last January. I was driving one night. I was listening to this song. If you don't know, it's called This Is Me, and it's in this movie, The Greatest Showman, which I've never even seen, but I was at the mall before, and the song came on, and I was like, oh, I like this song. So I actually just kept putting on repeat, and it's like a song about being yourself, and it really, shines light, I think, on mental health itself too. And all of a sudden, just the name came to my mind, and I've never had a reaction like that. I was like, oh my gosh. So I immediately drove right to my dad's house, and I was like, I have this idea. And he was like, just start writing. And actually, a few days before, obviously I thought of the idea, it was Christmas, and my aunt got me a journal, and she was like, I don't know, for some reason, like something was telling me you have to get it, like you need a journal. So now that's the journal I use to write all like my ideas and everything, which is great. And then I kept the idea to myself for a while because one, I was finishing up college, and two, I knew I wanted it to be a mental health awareness organization, but I didn't know specifically what I wanted to do with it. So on Pat's 3 year, we always get together on, the date that he passed, me and my friend group. I announced it to my friends because I was like, obviously I want, them to be involved. They were a huge part of his life too. So I talked with a few of them, and a lot were saying, okay, let's focus on, the younger generation and everything, which is what we're doing, but I knew I could do more with it. So I was like, why don't we focus on everyone? Let's just focus on everyone. As I said before, everyone has mental health. So now we became an official nonprofit November 2019. So it hasn't even been a year yet, but it's the best thing that's ever happened to me, and I'm just grateful that I get to do it in the honor of my friend. Like that's what it's all about for me too.
Yeah, and that's incredible. I mean, it's incredible that you're doing this, right out of college at a young age. It's incredible that you have this passion for it, and you can tell just in the way you're talking about it. And what I love about talking with not-for-profit leaders is that usually the people that found the organizations are usually like super. They want to solve the world's problems, and mature organizations that have been around for a long time, you don't always get that same like vibe, and that's why I love when people start missions and start projects. It's you have this like this exuberance about it. That's fantastic. I love hearing it. So I guess from a mental health aware, obviously mental health is a big big concern right now, and I think it's I mean, to me, it's one of the least talked about biggest problems that exist, on so many. It's probably, and it's such a complex topic because mental health is driven by so many things. It's driven by genetics. It's driven by experience. It's driven by positive and negative things that happen to you in your life. And so from that perspective, I think it's incredible. So I mean, from your perspective, where do you feel where do you feel Pat, your organization is kind of filling a need? Like, where do you feel that you're focusing your energy from an awareness perspective?
I think with this organization, what we're trying to do is give back to. And I think with that, we're trying to show people that, one, it's okay to not be okay in a way, but two, that they have a purpose and we're giving back in any sort of way. And I think we also are trying to just make it known, like with the posts we have right now, we can only utilize social media because of everything going on. So we just had a 12 days of quarantine activity routine, and each day was something different, and we were talking, and each day it was like, example, it could have been a book day, and it was people like how reading helps your mental health, or there we had someone come on live and do yoga and how that helps your mental health. So it's just little things like that, and just making it known that it you need to prioritize your mental health, especially, as I said, with the world we're living in today. It's crazy, and I just am open to anything, and I have a lot of ideas coming in from different people too. So getting people involved is a huge thing as well too.
I
So
thought
how are you? Go ahead, Matt.
Oops, sorry, Brad.
You're good.
I was going to say, I thought the really unique part about the 12 days of quarantine was there were so many different like moving parts to it. Like you had a trivia night with it, you had a workout night with Nick, you had a yoga night, you had a music day, and I thought that was really cool because it really had people focused in, and kind of, even if you were feeling down because of the quarantine or other things like that, you were always able to be a little distracted. Like you had that one day to focus on a different skill and everything. How did you come up with that idea?
So I just kind of saw, there were other mental health awareness organizations doing like day one, focus on yourself, day two, which was great. But I wanted to incorporate activities within it as well. So me and I have a team. we've been doing a lot of Zoom calls. And at first we were only going to do a week. And then I was like, we used the number 12 because that was Pat's number and we just always referenced 12. So I was like, we're still in a pandemic. We're still quarantined. Like an extra 5 days will not hurt. And also, May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and we're doing a lot behind social media. So obviously, I want to do something for others as well too. So I just thought that was something unique and different, and we came up with the different days and how they all like pertain to mental health, but also making it enjoyable and knowledgeable for everyone that was participating.
Yeah, and so from a social media perspective, what platforms do you use right now, or where do you find the most, I guess, traction with social media?
Yeah, so we have Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. My website's actually in the works right now, but Instagram is definitely the most popular platform we have. We have people from, it's crazy, different, not even just, we have different states, like people following. We've had different organizations follow us. So Instagram is definitely up there, but Twitter is doing pretty well too. So definitely both, but Instagram is definitely number one.
You have to get on TikTok soon.
Oh
Hey,
gosh.
we're not TikToking, Matt. All right,
I don't have a TikTok.
I told you, no TikToking.
Brad, we have to make an office TikTok when we get back.
There ain't no TikToking going on. All right, I had people TikToking on my lawn, and I had to get them off my lawn. So no TikToking. All right. Anyway, from a I guess what's your strategy with social media? Like, how did you you said you have a pretty good following. You're getting people how did you go about that? How did you engage? I know, getting from like 0 to 100 follows is probably harder than getting from like 1 million to 2 million. And I don't know where you're at, but I'm in the 0 to 50 range. So, I can't get off the ground. So, what advice do you have, or how did you go about your strategy with, increasing that awareness or increasing that following base?
So I think for me personally, I have a very strong knit friend group. So first it was them all obviously following the social media, sorry. And then they tell their friends and they tell their people. But then now we also have shirts. And the shirts is what really got people to follow, because people would be posting it on their Instagram stories and they tag us, and then I would repost it or something, and it just keeps building and building. So definitely, I mean, just a simple story, then you have people just coming in. I think we're at like almost 500 followers right now, which is great because,
That's
as
great.
I said, we just started this in November. I've had people DM the account just like even applauding the whole organization itself. So it makes me feel really good. And it's crazy how social media, like that's how it all started, like that. It's just crazy how things can blow up like that. So I'm very surprised, honestly, but I'm also very grateful.
Yeah, it is crazy how it catches on like wildfire like that, especially especially if you didn't expect it. But it's social media has a big, I'll call it positive and negative to it. I think the positive with cases of this are outweigh any negative, but it's important to display your message in many mediums and really get your message out, especially if you are raising awareness to an issue or you are trying to connect. I think with mental health, a lot of times people are afraid to like reach out, but if you connect with them, they may be more willing to reach out. I know just based on my own history, sometimes you need a little push, or sometimes you need someone to actually physically connect with you. And I think if you're doing activities, you're engaging, and people are following that, it has an exponential impact that you can't quantify, other than you probably saved someone's life.
That's honestly like the goal too, and just, as I said, prioritizing and just being there for people too, and getting other organizations' names out there too that are amazing resources. So that's honestly just the whole goal itself.
So how do you feel, obviously you started your organization a few months ago. It's been something you've been passionate about for a long time. How do you feel, I guess, what we're going through right now with social distancing and not, kind of discontinuing activities you were a part of? How do you feel that, is impacting mental health, and also how are you addressing that, or how are you kind of helping in that scenario, in this scenario?
So definitely how, I mean, even for myself, it's taken a toll on people's mental health because you're not in your everyday routine anymore. Obviously life is so different. People are losing jobs. People, they're just really, it's not what they're used to. So how I feel is, as I said, just still connecting with people on social media, online, letting them know we sent out a whole message like we're there for them if they need anything. It's like for themselves. And just as I'm continuing to work with my team with what we're going to be having to focus on a lot, because I've especially read a lot of articles to how this is going to play a huge effect in the upcoming months. So we're just coming up with different strategies and different ideas and goals that we can work on based on coronavirus and just everything going on in the world right now. It's a crazy time. Truly a crazy time, especially now. Obviously it started this in November, and obviously no one was expecting this. I wasn't expecting this. So now this is something I really have to just like really get the ball rolling on, and just, being there for people and just focusing on what is to come in the future.
Yeah, and now is this a 24/7 thing for you? Or is this, like all in all the time, or do you have a day job too?
I had a day job, got laid off, but I was also focusing on this during that. But um, I'm I've put a lot of work into it, and I think now I have so much time that I'm kind of happy with not like with everything, but like that I get to like really sit down and focus on this whole organization itself. And I've been connecting with so many other people. Like for me personally, I'm also a volunteer with the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, the New Jersey chapter, and I'm in training to become one of their speakers and one of their community ambassadors. And I'm also on one of their boards for the walks that we do. So it's also about getting involved and making connections. That's the most important thing, and just growth in general.
Oh, one thing I wanted to ask about. Oh, sorry, Brad. You go.
You. That's the one thing about doing these non-live, right? It's so hard not to like cue over somebody. I do it all, and so go ahead, Matt.
We needed a thing on Teams where you could like raise your hand or something.
No, because I would never look at it. Nah,
Oh,
it's fine. Jump in. Just go ahead. It's good.
One thing you mentioned earlier is about the education portion of it. So, could you tell us a little bit about that? Because I remember when we were in high school together, I can't even recall if they ever mentioned mental health in our health class or anything, which is wild that they never brought it up. I mean, they would show us videos of people doing like crystal meth and all these drugs, but they would never show us anything about mental health. So, I guess, how are you trying to get into, I guess, different school systems and change the way that they address it?
Yeah. So before I became an official nonprofit, I sat down with one of our elementary school principals, who was actually mine and Matt's elementary school principals. We have two elementary schools in town. And I told him the whole idea, and he gave me a lot of, ideas and opinions and everything like that. Then November became the nonprofit, and then we started reaching out to. We are in contact right now with the middle school in our town, and I've also still been in contact with the elementary school principals. So we were actually supposed to go sit in on a health class, but with everything going on, we can't right now. But we're still in contact. But we are working on a presentation, me and my team, to present to the Board of Education at some point. And it's kind of hard right now, because why we wanted to sit in on the health classes to see exactly what they are being taught. One of the people on my team, like his sister is in 8th grade, and she's the one that actually told us that, they are starting to learn about mental health and everything because of the tragedies that have happened in our town. And so we wanted to base it off that a little bit. So it's kind of hard, but we've also, done a lot of research and everything too of what we can incorporate. So we're working on that whole aspect right now. As I said, a little difficult, but just, you know, for us in my high school, you had health for a marking period. I feel like maybe it should be a full year type of class, just because, especially, I keep repeating myself, but the world we're living in today, it's going to affect you. It doesn't matter what your age is, it's going to make an effect on each and every single person in this world.
Absolutely.
There's no question about that. Especially, firsthand experience having when you have two young kids and have like two working parents and everything. It definitely creates it creates an extreme challenge to, there's I describe it as there's this level of anxiety that you can't quantify. It's not something that you know about, but all of a sudden, your bones rattle a little bit, everything bothers you, and it's like, okay, something's not right.
Yeah.
So from a partnering perspective, you mentioned earlier that you partner with other organizations. I think one of the most difficult things I found, just going through some things in life, is actually finding help and like actually accessing it. So as an example, let's assume that I know myself, I had to find a doctor with a specific specialty, or a psychologist with a specific specialty, and not only was it hard to find that person, but I would call and leave messages, and they would just be this perpetual inbox of, you can never get through to somebody. And then when you finally get through to someone, they're like, yeah, by the way, we don't take your insurance, or insurance doesn't cover it, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And then you get to the next stage, which is like, okay, like now what? And it's this perpetual cycle. And I was fortunate in my life that I did get in contact with someone, and I always view these as like acts of God, of like how it actually comes about, because it's like, it's either in a moment of desperation, or it's like randomly someone will say, did you talk to this person? They're my friend and I know them. And you call them, they're like, oh yeah, I'll take you. And barring that aside, do you see that as an issue? And are you working with that, or doing anything about that? Or is there anything you feel that the world should be doing about that, to access to mental health, or partnering? You mentioned partnering with other organizations.
Mm.
How does that resonate?
I do see that as an issue, definitely. I mean, I know personally for me, and other people I've talked to about, even the therapists or psychologists in their colleges, it would take them like 3 months to just go talk to someone. And I think, especially college years, it's a very difficult time. So that's something we brought up, and just something we want to focus on. I think, personally for me, I think a lot of things are going to change with everything going on in the mental health care world. So I hope things get better. Insurance, just making time and setting different appointments for people, because it's kind of crazy. You're going through something, and then you can't talk to someone for what, 3 months? That's crazy. It's so that's why also there's all these organizations out there that are willing to help you or get you the assistance that you actually do need. I know, as I said, the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention is amazing, and they have all these different resources and everything too. And I've done so many other research on different organizations for different specific things. So as I said, I don't think people know that they're actually out there. So that's something I want to bring out too, that all of these different organizations are there to help you, or there to help you get the assistance that you need. So that is something that I'm definitely working on right now.
I agree with you on that one point you made with college campuses and it being so difficult to get access to healthcare. Because I remember at Stockton, we would take brothers down there. I went down one time, and you go down, you try to make an appointment, and you have to wait another 2-3 months, and that's the whole semester right there, pretty much. I feel like that's a big issue with the mental health world right now, where universities are either at such a shortage for psychologists, or they just don't have the resources for to be able to handle the amount of people that need mental health help and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like as I said, like college, it's a crazy time. It's especially, especially if you're an incoming freshman, it's a whole new chapter of your life. And I don't know, I just thought like I heard from many other people too. It just wasn't just me that it's happened to them. Like they couldn't see someone for months. And I just thought that was absolutely kind of bizarre in a way. So that's why finding other organizations that, will help you and will do anything they can, it's important. And that's why I want to get their names out there.
Yeah, I think that's a huge step forward because, yeah, like I said, I can tell you story after story about, times where you, you actually, and it's hard. I mean, listen, it's very hard even to bring yourself to saying, okay, I'm going to go open up to someone that I don't know, that's a stranger, and you're trying to find someone you have a connection with. So not only is there a challenge of finding somebody with a pulse, but finding someone that actually like you connect with. I mean, now you're going like an nth degree further than that. So that's always been the biggest thing I've seen, or the biggest challenge that I feel I wish there was a way that we could find in the world to help rectify, because and it's all, as you said, I mean, it is only going to get more complicated, more challenging, and there has to be a better way, and maybe virtual telehealth type softwares and technology and platforms are going to, maybe they'll help it. Maybe there's a shortage of people. I never knew kind of why they were always so much demand and not enough supply, but it is what it is.
Yeah,
Certainly is.
I was going to ask too, just from the beginning of when you first created everything up until now, have you found that priorities have shifted? Just as maybe people have reached out, or as you've built your team and gone out there and worked with other organizations, have different priorities shifted over time from then to now? And of course, now we have COVID and all that stuff too, but just
Yeah,
like your timeline.
I've actually had people reach out, and as I said, like just come to the organization. I feel like they feel comfortable with it. And I think also the organization itself, it's mostly like around my age group, like my team right now. So, and I actually spoke with this guy, his name's George, and he is a speaker for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. He actually helped me with a lot, but he even said, he's like, it's amazing how you guys are doing this because people are comfortable around your age group. They want to hear you speak. They want to talk with you because, especially, this age group itself, it's kind of where, like, life is a little weird, especially for me right now, coming out of college. Like, I definitely, it's a big transition. So it's just, there is definitely different priorities. As you said, COVID has gotten in the way with a lot of things, but we're still working hard and we're still working on different goals and ideas. So I said to my team, we're not going to stop. If anything, we're just going to keep going, and we're not going to be in the dark. Like once, the new norm, whatever life is going to be after this, like we're going to be getting prepared and we're just going to be going right into it.
Yeah. Have you found that more people are reaching out to you guys? Again, I guess now it's a little different, but for speaking engagements and stuff, just over the course of time, how did you get your name out there, and how did they say maybe that they heard about you guys? What did you hear? Or I guess I should say, how have you heard that people have heard the word about you?
As I said, social media, one, huge, but it's especially since this organization is obviously in the honor of Pat. Families are very much involved, and families tell their friends and they tell their friends. So it's all about the connections. And as I said, people have DM'd either just applauding it, or people have DM'd just saying like ideas and everything too. I always say I'm open to any person wanting to join or anything, because I think the more people brings more ideas. And that's what I want this to be about. I want every single person involved. It does not matter if you knew Pat, it does not matter if you are in the state of New Jersey. I think that, the world needs something like this. So it's just continuing to get the name out there by social media, really. And then hopefully in the near future, we can have events. I've had to cancel a lot, obviously. So it's a difficult time, but we're pushing through. That's all.
So what have you learned? Obviously you started your organization a little less than a year ago. Like, what have you learned since then? I mean, obviously starting a nonprofit's not an easy thing, right? You got to fill out all that crazy paperwork. You got to go through this process. How did that go for you? Like where did you find kind of challenges, or what kind of surprised you about kind of being a not-for-profit? Because it's a lot more than anybody would ever think.
No, and that's definitely true. So filling out the paperwork and everything. So before I even did that, I sat down with my board, and I asked them if they wanted to be part of it. So before I did anything, I knew I had to have people that would want to be registered with the state and everything too, and they were all for it, which was great. So obviously went through the whole process of getting approved by the state and everything too. And then I think in the beginning, not even I think, I know in the beginning, it still is a little difficult for all of us to, be on board with things and getting ideas out there. I've actually just developed a whole advocacy team. So we meet with them too. We just had a meeting last night actually, and we talk about all different ideas we have and everything. And they've been absolutely amazing. So I think we're taking it day by day of what we can all contribute and all what we can all just do itself. It's not easy, and I'm really happy you said that too, because I don't think people actually think of it like that. I have people that I think okay, you started an organization, that's great. There's a lot more to it than people know, and I don't even explain myself to them, because I'm proud of the work I do, and I'm proud of the people who want to support it and the people who are part of it, and that's all that matters to me.
Did you file your 990 postcard for this year?
My what?
Yeah, exactly. See? Yeah. So I mean, so what's very funny, and I bring it up kind of in jest, but not in jest. What's funny is that a lot of people will start not-for-profits, and most people in your position have their mission down, they have their vision down, they have their goal down, they do everything they need to do, and then eventually you get a letter in the mail that says, "Hi, you forgot to file your tax returns for the last 3 years. You're now no longer a charity." And you're like, "Oh my God, what did I forget to do?"
That was my first concern when I was saying to my dad, I'm like, "So what about tax returns?" And he's like, "All right, Serena, just we'll take care of that. Let's just get approved by the state first." I think it was even before any of that. I was like, okay, that was my first question. That's really funny you say that.
Work with Matt. We'll help you out. We're good. We got you covered. We'll make sure the IRS doesn't come breathing down your back. It's all good.
That's really what I'm like, oh my gosh, the IRS is gonna come for me.
Yeah, I know. Well, once again, starting a new charity, starting an organization, most people in your shoes are very mission oriented and vision first, and it's hard to do. I mean, there's legal compliance, there's a whole host of things. And now your organization, are you paying salaries yet? Are you doing going that route yet?
No, not yet. I
Okay.
mean, as I said, we're taking it slow, and the next few years is all going to be about growth. And I hope it turns into something like that. I would love that. I'm very passionate about it. Never thought I was going to do anything like this. Didn't even go to school for psychology or anything like that. I was an entertainment major. I was working in a theater, and then now I just have this. So it's kind of crazy, but as I said, I'm really passionate about this, and taking it slow and just see where it goes. And I really hope it does become something like that. I would love that.
Yeah. I mean, you have all the potential to do it. That's awesome. So I guess from a we'll call it suicide awareness perspective. Where do you feel that when you talk with constituents, people that are looking for help, where do you feel that there's common misconceptions or things that, if you were to raise awareness to something suicide related, what would it be? I mean, obviously, unfortunately you went through it personally with a close friend. where do you feel that if you were to kind of, give a couple bullet points or a couple thoughts that you think most people don't think about, whether they're in that position or whether they're friends in that position, that, hey, I remember going through this, but I didn't take this cue, or, whatever it might be. And I know that might be a little personal question, and I apologize if I put you on the spot with a personal question.
No, it's okay. I think personally for me, I'll speak on my behalf with going through it. Um, I think at first when everything happened, you kind of question yourself. You question, what did I not see? And there's no one to blame. There's absolutely no one to blame. And I want people to understand that too. It's a tragedy, and it's changed my life in so many ways. And as I said in the beginning, I knew that there was something I had to do. So if people are going through, they lost someone to suicide, or, they're in a funk, especially with everything going on, like, you first think about just your life in general, and you think about, the good things, all the pros to it. And then reaching out for help. I know that's always said, but you have nothing to be ashamed of for reaching out for help. It's okay to not be okay. And just utilizing resources, and just, talking to people that you care about too. And for me also, I reach out to people that I talk to every day, or I reach out to people I haven't talked to in forever, just to see how they're doing, because even a simple hello and a simple how are you goes a long way. And before, anything happened, I always knew what mental health was. Not as much as I do now, but as Matt said before, we weren't really taught it in high school. That wasn't like really a big thing. So, once it happened, it's kind of like, okay, now I need to do something. And I've learned so much about what it actually is. So if people do unfortunately go through it, it's kind of like, okay, you learn about it, and then now you can teach it to people too. So there's a lot to that, I know, but yeah, I mean, it's okay not to be okay. It's okay to reach out, and it's okay to do things like this to make, an impact.
Yeah,
I
and
was
it's
just thinking.
interesting because, like, yeah, in high school, I'll give you a personal story. In high school, I have a bad case of OCD, and OCD is, has a myriad of things that no one understands. People just think like this is a crazy person, they walk around in circles, but
Yeah.
there's like so much more to it mentally, and like chemically and genetically and everything, that I think a lot of people, and when you're going through it, you have no idea what the hell's going on. You're just like, my brain's telling me to walk around in circles and, take the towel off the rack and keep putting it back on until I feel less anxiety, right? And it's a weird thing. And I think, learning from that experience, I'll tell you, and you raise education in the schools. I felt so alienated by my school, because one day they brought me into the counselor's office, and and they actually asked me to leave the school and like go into, like, check myself into a mental hospital. And I wouldn't call myself a crazy person, but I'd say I was functioning. I mean, I was a straight A student, right? It wasn't like I was failing every class, and I was endangering anybody, but I was just experiencing some unusual mental disorder that a lot of people don't. And that morphed into like a whole lot of other feelings of, do I really want to do this life anymore? Because this is how everybody's looking at me, and the school is telling me to leave. There was all these factors, and it like led me down this really, really bad path. And the way I got back on the track was, I ended up living with a family member who had a similar issue, and not the same issue, but helped me through it. And they like, I lived with them for a week, and they coached me through it, and we just talked, and it got me back onto a normal, a regular path. And then over time, like, my family helped me find a therapist, and eventually you get back to a normal life. But I can tell you, like, you go from being totally fine to one event or one thing or one happening, and now all of a sudden you get derailed. And if you don't have the support system around you to coach you through it or guide you, or family members may, especially close family members, they may be harsh on you, because they may be like, why are you doing what you're doing? Like, you weren't like this yesterday. And I think a lot of people, I always, just whenever I talk about the topic, I always want everybody to know that, like, as you said, and I think you've coined it very well, it's like, you're not alone. It's okay that you reach out. It's okay you talk about it. And by the way,
you should do it. You need to actually, you need to instill some level of hope in yourself. Otherwise, you go down a very dark path, and it's hard to get yourself out of your own head, especially when you have OCD, because your mind is regurgitating the same negative thought over and over again. So anyway,
No,
I digress.
but no. Well, and thank you for
Thanks
sharing that. But
sharing.
yeah, no, but also like now that you say that, it's like we live in a world that not even do people judge so harshly, but they judge so quickly. So that's what I
Yes.
just thought of when you just said that. So I mean, as I said, thank you for sharing that. But it's true. It's just it's kind of crazy. Like you have, you were saying OCD and everything, and like you go and all now like people are probably staring at you different and all this stuff. It's honestly kind of sad in a way too. But thank you for sharing that.
And not to date myself, but we didn't have social media back then, and thankfully, like Facebook didn't exist, Instagram didn't exist. I don't think MySpace was out yet, but it might have been. But yeah, I mean, I could tell you it. I'm talking about just like the way my family members and the way like some school guidance counselor like judged me, or that's how I perceived it, right? Whether that actually happened or not, who knows, and doesn't matter at this point. But the bigger picture is, if my friends were on social media like making a TikTok video about me being all crazy in the head, I mean, imagine the effect that has on somebody. And I'm scared to death of my kids when they have to go to school, of the effect of how negative social media can be. And I don't know if you watch the Netflix series 13 Reasons Why, but if you really want to put yourself in a dark place or think about how these things happen, watch that show, and you realize like it just scared the hell out of me about social
Things
media
can de-escalate.
and bullying, and how the littlest thing you can do multiplied by 13 people or multiplied by many people, the effect that it has. And it blows my mind. And that show messed me up, actually. It really, I like didn't think straight after it for a while.
There's a lot of controversy with that show. I watched like the first season. I don't know how many seasons they have now, and then I stopped mid.
I watched the first one only
season.
too.
Yeah. So I mean, I started the other, and then I just stopped for some reason. There's a lot of people who are for the show, and there's a lot of people who are not for the show. I see both sides. But yeah, no, as you said, it's a lot right now is also social media. It's crazy, but no, it's just we need to just stop judging so harshly and so quickly. It's truly just upsetting in a way too.
It is, and it's a challenge to manage or mitigate. I mean, there's no way to mitigate it, because we're so ingrained into it. And especially kids. You think about kids that are 13, 14. I mean, they don't fully understand or comprehend what they're doing, and nor can they, because they're not fully developed as far as comprehension of the effect that the cataclysmic effect that, hey, I called someone a name. Well, you don't realize the effect that bullying, what you just did, has on somebody. And it gets multiplied with social media because it's so quick, because everybody has access to it. Everybody sees it. People comment on it real time. People are commenting on it not to your face. They're commenting on it behind a computer screen, which is a whole nother layer of nonsense that's going on right now. And scary stuff.
Yeah.
So, as a newer organization, are you currently doing fundraising? Are you doing outreach for raising funds?
So, we had fundraisers planned, canceled, but we had like a restaurant fundraiser, which was great. And then right now, I'm not really doing much fundraising in a way for the organization, because of just people who have lost jobs, and I don't I just don't want to ask for money, if that makes sense. So we've been doing a lot of donations, which have been great, and like we're working to contribute those donations to, especially with what's going on in the world right now. But we have fundraiser ideas for the future. It's just we're in a weird place, so I can't really put a date on anything. I mean, if anything, probably not until the next year, an in-person fundraiser. So right now it's really just been a lot of donations, which have been great too. And just, we have sold a lot of shirts, which have been great too, but nothing fundraiser wise as of right now.
I was going to say, like, right now, if you could come up with like your dream fundraiser for people are there, what's your dream fundraiser idea?
My dream fundraiser.
Sorry to put you on the spot with that, but
No, it's okay. I don't know if it's a dream fundraiser because like any fundraiser that we've talked about, I'm so excited to plan. As I said, I'm open to anything. But one I've always brought up, no matter if people are for it or not, I'm probably still just gonna do it. I really want to do like a karaoke open mic type of night because in a way it's
Mhm.
like, okay, come express yourself, like all this stuff. My dad works at like a venue, so I was like, we can do it there. That would be great.
You should
Um,
have your dad play.
like my dad's a musician, so that's why he's saying that. But no, but I just like I've been saying that for months now. I'm like, I really just want to do like a karaoke open mic. And some people were like, no, like the guys mostly were like, no. And I was like, I'm still gonna do it. So it's I don't know. I just think it's like it's a way to come and express yourself too. And whether I mean I'm not a singer or anything, but I'd still I guess go up there and sing. Like why not? I think that would be fun. I don't know if it's my dream fundraiser. I don't even know what my dream fundraiser would really be. That was really on the spot. Wow, I never actually thought of that.
I
But
forgot to send you the question list earlier this weekend, so you could
Yeah,
blame me
right,
for
Matt.
that.
Yeah, Matt, you totally messed
thanks,
up.
Matt.
I logged on and I'm like, I forgot to send her the question.
So
I hope
what's
I'm
yours,
doing
Matt?
at least a little okay. But
My
What's yours?
yeah, what's yours?
Polar Plunge, the one for no, not Polar Plunge. The Lantern Festival from Stockton, the one that we did there. We did like there's like a
Ooh.
lake on Stockton's campus, and we did it for brain cancer awareness and for the Omen Cancer Fund and everything. It was kind of like
Oh wow,
up
that's great.
almost.
That's fun.
It was like almost like up, but I wanted them to like fly up, but the Greek advisor told me if I light a tree on fire, I'll go to federal jail for like the rest of my life. And I don't think I'd do well in jail, so
Well, we're happy that you're here and not, elsewhere because of your
I'm glad
lantern
I'm glad you
festivities.
listened to the advice. Yep, that's good.
we did the little LED light bulbs and everything, the little LED lights, so no trees, no pine barrens were burnt down that night.
Good. And you should absolutely do your open mic night. I think that sounds awesome. I mean, and
Thank
even
you.
everybody attending, they don't necessarily have to get on stage and say anything into the mic, but I think that would be awesome. Have like a lineup of a few people and then leave it open. See if anybody wants to test out the waters.
Oh,
Pop
you
up
know
Yeah.
I'll
there.
be out there singing.
I would
I
go.
would
Yeah,
100%
I'd
go
be
to
in.
that.
You don't
Whoa,
see that.
see, this is
Yeah,
great. This is
I can tell you
great.
it's not a common, always coming up with a unique idea for doing a fundraiser is a good, is a good thing. And even if, you get really creative and you do it, you figure out a way to do it now, right? Without being
No,
personally in place. And that's,
yeah,
it's not easy
no,
to do,
no.
but
Exactly. And I'm like one of those people, I'm like, we'll have raffles, we'll have food, we'll have this, like all of that. I just can see it happening and I'm like, we need to do it. So
yeah,
once this is over, that's the first thing I'm planning now.
If you get a
yeah.
Nellie's raffle, count me in.
Okay,
Yeah.
Matt, I'll do that.
What's, so Serena, what's your song? You have a karaoke song?
Oh, so everyone has a go-to karaoke song. I know it. So I actually asked this question a few months ago, but mine, it's kind of weird, but mine's the Copacabana.
Okay.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So random, but like I love old music like that. So like the Copacabana is definitely mine.
Okay, so when you have your open mic night, we're gonna plan on you kicking it off
Oh
with the
god.
Coca.
Oh gosh. All right, I'll do it. I'll do it. Why not?
Awesome. Yeah, I feel like having the vision is the biggest part, though. I mean, I'm sure you feel that way about just kickstarting it, just having the initial vision. So that goes into your fundraiser too. Just keep holding on to that because anything that
Yes,
you envision long enough, I really think you can make happen. That's my
thank
perspective
you.
on those things.
Thank
And that sounds fun.
you.
That it does. Yeah, I want to go. I want to go now. You don't want to hear me sing. That yes.
Oh, I
Shut,
do
just
want to
shut,
hear you sing
shut
though.
just
Yeah.
shut it off. Like turn on mute. Let me put me behind a glass window and let me have at it with the crazy songs. But yeah, no, it's cool. So I guess as a newer charity, as kind of starting an organization, raising an organization, where do you feel that you like need help, like whether it be, I don't know, donations, whether it be volunteers, whether it be partners in crime, like where do you see that you and your organization needs help, or if someone listens to this and says, I want to help, like what would it be? Where do you think you need the most assistance?
I think, as I said before, volunteers, I'm open to anyone. Like, I want everyone to volunteer. I just think that, I want this organization, I always say this, I want this organization to be beneficial, obviously, but I also want it to be very unique and different. And that's why, I'm glad Zoom's a thing, because I actually do have people on my team who are not in the state right now, and they still contribute so much to it. So if you're listening and you want to be involved, just reach out. The people are there: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Website should be up in the next month or so, and I'll have like a contact thing on there as well too. But just, I would never say no to a volunteer, so that's definitely something. And then I guess if it's help, not even help, just continuing, not even to spread the word about people are there, which would be great, but just spreading the word about mental health and just shining a light on it, because it's still in the dark. And just prioritizing the whole thing itself. That's what the organization's obviously about, but just making it really known. Like, as you can tweet, be kind, but then take the step and actually be kind. I don't know, that's just my perspective on it, but just prioritizing the whole thing in general.
Yeah, and you now have one more follower. So on
Thank
Instagram,
you.
I'm only on
Oh,
Instagram. So the
okay.
it's
Oh, I got it.
people are their foundation. If you're looking on Instagram to try to find the site here, but
Yeah.
yeah, I only do Instagram. I don't do any of the other ones.
That's okay. I still appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's good stuff. It's definitely good. I'm even like, I'm looking on here. I see the 12 days of quarantine checklist that Matt was talking about before.
Yes,
Good
yes,
stuff.
that has all our days on it. Yep, that was very successful.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. All right, great. Anything else you want to share with us? Anything else that's fresh in mind that we didn't really cover?
I guess I just want to share to anyone who listens to this. I know this might sound funny, but if you have an idea, go for it. This is truly like the best thing to happen to me. And besides, the circumstance itself, I feel like doing something in honor of my friend has truly changed my life. And also, I'm going to be this person to the young females out there. I started this organization as a young female. I have a team really only of guys. Like, you can do it. And I just want to make that known. And I think that needs to be known too. So just know, if you have something, and obviously the young males too, please, it's not like that, but just know that if you have something in mind and you think you can make a difference, like, go for it. Don't let anyone stop you.
Yeah, I think that's the best message of all is if you're passionate about something, you can make it happen, and you should make it happen, and you shouldn't let things get in your way, and reaching out to people like you who have done it, I think is a huge step. And most of the charitable leaders I talk to, generally speaking, they've had a support system, or they've had others they've reached out to. And our hope is with doing this podcast and doing this is actually exactly that, which is now hopefully there might be another young lady that might have a different idea and says, you know what, I want to call Serena because she just went through this, and you know what, she sounds like a fun lady to go talk to. And there you go. Now you just multiply the impact, because not only are you doing what you're doing, but now someone else is going to do something that they were hesitant about. They may or may not have done. So yeah, definitely a great message you shared with us. So we appreciate that.
Thank you.
Hey, Warriors. Thanks for tuning in. On the next episode of Civic Warriors, we'll talk with Tom Zaki from TerraCycle Global Foundation about how plastic and garbage is a bigger problem than we all understand and how they are tackling these global issues head on. Make sure to subscribe to Civic Warriors, and thanks for all your support. Have a great day.